he's like really into UFC and stuff. And he was like, I'm going to email you like a whole list of questions. Are these good, Julie? Hello, yeah.
For the FA?
For the what?
Financial advisor. Trying to be hip with the abbreviations.
Listen, don't use these terms. Don't be hip because I'm a grandma. But
are you a Karen? Self-proclaimed Karen?
I'm a Karen when it comes to cats.
Damn, I sound stuffy on here, don't I? I'm a bit stuffy.
I don't think you sound stuffy.
All right, word.
I think you sound fine. No, I met with him the other day and he gave me a whole list of questions to ask me. So if I'm in the mood to be like know-it-all professional, then I have a whole list.
The backup? Mm-hmm. Is it even a backup or is it?
No, it's not a backup. I don't really I'm trying not to. I don't even use anything. What's wrong over there?
You like these chairs?
Do you not?
I'm not sure how I feel about them.
Okay, scoot it in if you need to so you can lean back or get comfortable.
Can I hold this or is this weird?
No, you can hold it, but I don't know if that's comfortable.
I don't think I can bang out the whole interview like this.
Let me see. Hold on.
No,
and you know what? The men that have come on are not liking my mic setup. What mics do you have?
Well, I'm short, so it's like.
Do you have mics?
Yeah, I got the boom arm. You know what I'm saying? Clip it to this. This is a nice table, though, so I don't know if you want to fuck it up.
I could do those. Maybe
Gator
I'll have to
Works,
do them
I think, is the brand.
I have those, and then there's another one that
I don't know what to do with my hands right now. Is the issue.
Put them here.
Proper.
Good?
Yeah, this is
doesn't
proper.
have to be proper.
I feel like this is good spine alignment here now. Ergonomic.
Okay, listen. You have just showed me that I need to put my phone on. You just showed me that my setup sucks.
I like the round table.
Okay, well, I don't know how to fix it. Listen, if you want to lean back and like go like this kind of thing, by all means. That's not that comfortable though.
I'll be shuffling. I'm kind of a fidgety person anyway.
I am too. So we can both just be fidgeting around the whole time.
I've had a lot of caffeine today also.
Did you want more caffeine or are you good?
I'm probably good. I'll be pissed. I got a weak bladder, so I'll be pissed like a motherfucker if I do.
Okay, that's fine. Good thing we can cut. So yeah, met with him. I have some good questions, but I'm not going to ask them unless I need to. But I don't think I need to because I studied them.
You did?
Yeah.
Are they memorized?
Not the ones with like, because he gave me like all these cool names of people. I don't know all of that stuff. So that's going to be your job to explain that. Because
okay. This is being filmed too? No shit. Damn, y'all are professional up in here.
Okay, wait. So you have your podcast, but you don't film it? Is it just all?
Just audio. Okay. I feel like the filming is just like, because right now it's very, I don't want to say hobby like in a disparaging way, but it's not like. No, I know. It's not the cross that I'm dying on. So it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, just audio. Should I film it? What do you think, Julie? Yeah, all about it.
Well, the reason we do is because we started from YouTube, so it's like that's where
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of
where
you
guys have the base, you know.
Yeah, so there's that. But I did my homework on you, and also just because I wanted to listen because I never listened before. I listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
The first episode.
Yeah.
The other day.
It's pretty cringy. Even like you get good at talking as it goes on, but I don't have very smooth delivery on that.
That's what I was going to tell you, that you did a really good job. I was impressed.
It's weird at first, I think.
It's very weird. I still even get nervous, and I've been doing it for like 2 years. But you did a really good job, which I wanted to tell you, number one. Number two, I don't know anything really about like fighting or UFC, and I was still able to listen and enjoy it. Like I had it on just chilling, and I was like, damn, he's a good talker. You have a very like good, manly listening to voice.
That's a compliment right there.
It is, because I like it.
You should make a Hallmark card that says that shit on it.
I will, and you have this kind of like country twang going on.
You're not the only person. So it's like, obviously you don't sound like, I'm sure you listen to your own shit and in your head you don't sound.
It sounds horrible.
It sounds weird. I fucking hate this. But it's weird. I don't know where the fuck it comes from because in my head I don't hear it. But like I'll listen to some interviews. It's like I sound like a fucking hillbilly out there. I don't get it.
I think it's Reisterstown.
I've heard Maryland accent. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, people say that too. People say it about me, but I don't think I have the twang.
You definitely have the Maryland accent, but not like the country.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck I get it from. The country drawl I've been accused of having. But.
Well, you got it, but it sounds good for the podcast. But your podcast is mainly about fighting, UFC, all of that, right?
Yep. And because it's like what I know best, obviously. I'd like to, and we talked about it on the phone the other day, like kind of Roganize it a little bit and like talk to different people in different walks of life. Like I'm interested in a bunch of different shit other than fighting. Like sometimes like, I don't want to say I'm burnt out, but I don't know. Like staying on top of it, trying to get good. And that's what my partner, Evan, for the podcast is like way better at, studying fight. I don't want to say studying fights, but he keeps up with it. A lot of times it's like, I don't want to say it's like doing homework, but it's kind of like that. But
I mean, it is.
I'm rambling, but
in a way, you kind of have to figure out what you're going to talk about for like
yeah,
because
we do fight picks and fucking. He's a degenerate gambler, so he pays attention to the lines and all that. And I say that in like a complimentary way. But yeah, I'd like to talk to a bunch of different people eventually, but I got to cut my teeth at some point. I feel like if I come in too wide, people will be disinterested. But that's kind of what you're going for, I guess, is just,
I'm just
anyone and everyone.
And it takes time. I mean, like people, the show before, I mean, as I'm sure you know, it was just me and Claudia, so it was all girls basically. And now it's like last week was my first one with Jason for the Afghanistan stuff, and it's you can tell that like the current audience is
Jason Goldstein.
Yeah, you didn't watch it?
No,
so
sorry.
I watched one of yours and you didn't watch one of
so
mine.
I listened to the first two, the one with Kennedy was number one, right?
Yep.
She's another Cedarmere alum. A lot of talent coming out of Cedarmere Elementary.
Yeah.
But, and then Brandon's, which I was disappointed. I thought that he's kind of throwing shade at the old elementary school at the beginning, Sounded uninteresting. So I got a beef with him over that. That's fucked up.
Maybe you guys could hash it out.
Him and I go way, like fucking, I think 4th grade is when. And then we rode the same bus to middle school and shit. And then
he always says you're like the only other person that came out doing something big. Out of like,
I don't know if that's true. There's a lot of
like
a lot
cool
of successful
stuff.
folk.
Everybody's successful in their own way, but I think he means like kind of well known, if that makes sense, like more on the social media aspect kind of thing.
That's you guys, international superstars.
You're a superstar too, okay? And
Bryce
and I'm going to have you explain your stardom over there.
Really? So from the jump?
From the jump, I want to hear it all. I feel like as far back as I know, is that the way that you got into all of it, from what I would assume, would be from wrestling, right?
Yep. Grew up wrestling. I want to say 3rd grade's when I started, and then all through high school. I was 12 season athlete, so football, wrestling, and lacrosse. I was decent, I would say. Kind of like upper decent. Like I went to states a couple times to every place. But that's one, I try not to have a whole lot of regrets, but I feel like if I would have just focused on wrestling for like year round, no football or lacrosse, I would have done better in high school, but I'd be a better wrestler, which I think is the strongest base. But at any rate, yeah, so grew up wrestling, loved watching the sport. I think my freshman year is when I got into it, real hard watching it. Wrestling season was over my senior year, didn't place in states, which was one of my goals. So it was just like a sobering moment afterwards. Just like, fuck, there's like, this competition is kind of over. And I was an angry kid in high school for sure, definitely second half of high school. And like, I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always had a chip on my shoulder. So it's like one of those things I'd watch the sport and be like, you know what? I feel like this is some shit that I could do. Mm-hmm. So like it was May of my senior year after wrestling. It was May. Went to an MMA gym in Eldersburg, which I don't train at anymore. There was a seminar going on there with a guy who was in the UFC at the time. And then started training MMA. May had my first amateur fight a couple months later in August. And then, I was 18 when I had my first fight. And I think I had 8 amateur fights, turned professional at the age of 21. And then, and that was 2015. Lost my debut, which sucked. That was like one of the more shaping moments of my career thus far. And so I've been a professional since 2015. Got signed to the UFC in 2020.
So what was the process like for that? Like getting signed with the UFC? Is that something that you kind of have to...
Can I swallow my gum real quick?
Yes, you can do anything.
All right,
Is that gonna like, does that come out? Or does that stick to your
Remember
intestines?
the old, it was like 7 years it would stay in?
Is it true? Sure.
No, that's bullshit.
Okay.
Or I hope so. Or else I'll be fucked. I stay swollen.
Well, don't choke on the live show, please.
Yep. Get it? Are you an EMT by any chance, Julie?
No, I'm sorry.
Do you know the Heimlich?
Nope.
All right.
I don't either.
You died right here, right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it might make for good content, though, so.
That's awful. What an awful thing to say. But,
sorry.
I'm leaning this back.
Go ahead. You're
good.
good.
I can't do that.
Here, do this. Try to do this
Can you
thing.
extend this?
No, but you could tilt it down, kind of.
Gator works. It's so you can be like here with it,
I know. I'm gonna change the fucking mics next time.
All right. Just trying to help over here.
Now you made the decision for me.
So, the UFC. Mm-hmm. So I did this event called Contender Series where you go down in Vegas and fight in front of Dana White, who's the president of the UFC, and like the whole brass. And it was during COVID. It was weird. There was no one there. So it's like back in the day, I think each person got 4 tickets or whatever. So it's like your real close homies are watching, but it was production, UFC brass, everyone's like separated all throughout the room. So if you go and you have like a win doesn't guarantee you a contract, but if you have a good win, they sign you. So I went, and the dude I was supposed to fight pulled out like literally the week before, ended up fighting someone else, beat him by decision. They were like, so afterwards they do the whole shit and they were like, you didn't get a contract tonight, but come back. That was that was like September 1st. They're like, we want you to come back in November. We're doing this shit for like another 5 weeks or whatever it was. No, it was longer than that, but so yeah, came back, won again, and then that's when they gave me the contract. I had my UFC debut in May of 2021 in Texas, which was in front of people. It was dope. It was like one of the first crowds back it was the second card back that like the world was opened up. It was in Houston, Texas, and it was cool. Won by decision, and then I lost my last fight by decision, which sucks, but.
So I'm sure when you're fighting and there's all those people just watching live, is it like a huge adrenaline rush type of thing?
So I try for it not to be. It was definitely way cooler fighting in front of people than the Contender Series shit, but I try to be as like present here and now, focus on.
Right.
But it was pretty sick. In the third round, I was beating him. I was like way up, especially after the second round. And then the third round, he came out strong and landed a couple strikes, and the crowd went fucking crazy. And he was from Texas too, so like that was rad. Like my head felt like it was about to explode. It was super loud. It was only the second fight, so it wasn't like a super packed arena. It's gonna be pretty crazy, full on 20-something thousand people screaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try not to pay attention to the crowd, but it's definitely way better than like the 5 people or whatever. Even the last. So the UFC has its own facility called the Apex, where they'll have like free fights. Like if there's a fight on ESPN Plus and it's in Vegas, like it's going to be in the Apex, and it's small, it's limited. My last fight was there, and that's where my Contender Series ones, they sell tickets, but I think they're super expensive because it's limited crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not nearly as cool as the crowd either. But
so are you still in the UFC? Is that okay?
Yep.
But are you taking a break, or how does that work?
So I was supposed to fight in March. I want to say it was the 26th, and the dude got hurt literally like the week before.
Was that just in training or something?
Yeah, I guess he had some training. So the fight was off, and I've been dealing with this back injury for like three years. I have a back injury, which is really beat. And so I was like, whatever, stay. It was obviously a bummer because it was like 8 weeks worth of work for nothing. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to stay busy in case something comes up. And I want to say we were training all the way through April, and it was like literally the last kick at the end of like the last minute of a striking session I had with my coach. And like my shit was killing. So yeah, the long and short of it, I've been mostly on the shelf this year dealing with that, but I've been doing a shitload of physical therapy as of late and getting the body back. So I feel really good now physically. So
when do you plan on going back?
I'd love to get one by the end of the year. That's my goal. So I kind of wanted to get through August and September. I've been training really hard, but I wanted to see how the body would hold up to it. Like I said, and it's funny because I have weaknesses in my core, which kind of helps. So there is a surgery to correct it, but it's fusions and shit like that. And it's like, I'm 28 years old. That's a rather aggressive thing to be doing at this point in my life. So luckily I got some weaknesses in my core, but it's like the last month have been a lot of corrective stuff. So my core would get strong, and then like my hip flexors were killing me. So I've been compensating largely in a terrible way just because of the back injury and all that. So, but physically I feel good. I'd love to get at least one this year, and then I like fighting every 3 months. That's like ideal, 3-4 months. So if I can get something in December, March, and that would just be
strong. Like one big main match kind of thing every 3 months, right?
Yeah, like one fight every 3 months.
Okay,
typically don't fight more than once in a night.
Okay, I'm learning.
In Russia, they do that shit though.
Really?
Yeah, Russia, and I think back in the day, in Japan, they would do that. I don't know. That's fucking.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, in general, I feel like the sport is extremely hard on the body, obviously. So you're training now. But I'm assuming that the training you're doing now is a lot different than when you're like actually preparing and training for a fight, right?
So it's more sparring when you have a fight. And like, I got some teammates who are fighting, so I'll go in and give them rounds, but I try to kind of keep my sparring down because like obviously brain damage is a thing in this line of work.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's so scary.
Yeah, it's scary as fuck.
I don't know the one guy's name, but I saw the guy that I think he got like punched really hard or knocked out, and now He has like he's like permanently.
There's a boxer who you're probably thinking
That's probably who I'm thinking of.
Who's like fucking, I think is a quadriplegic now. Like he's really fucked up. I mean, people die in this shit. This is like more so in boxing than MMA. Okay. And most of the deaths is coming from the weight cut, which we can talk about, which is definitely the worst part. But I mean, yeah, it's a really risky business. And I'm sure that I'm doing shit that will affect me later in life, but I feel like I'm chasing something kind of bigger than that at this point. I'm just like praying that fucking science has some shit figured out. Like, I don't know if it's stem cell or some Elon Musk shit to bring my brain back, but I'm very cognizant of it. Like, I can count on one hand the amount of times that I've been dropped. So I try to keep it. But yeah, so I guess I'm going all over the place. I do more sparring, and it's like it's more focused on a game plan when I have an actual opponent, but in the intensity is much more. You can't really sustain like a camp level. Like camp for me is like 9 weeks out in a perfect world, 9 weeks. You can't sustain like that year round, that intensity. So it's periodized, hard 3 weeks. I like doing 3 or 4 week, probably 3 week segments of intensity, focus, shifts and output and all that. So this is where it's way more fun for me anyway, because it's like it's way more stress free. I feel like I can learn more in the off season. That's where a lot of guys squander their shit is in the off season. Because there's not the pressure of the fight. You're learning new shit. You're not just doing one specific, I shouldn't say one specific, but a game plan that's centric around one person. So right now, in March, the fight that was supposed to happen, I felt really good physically, but mentally it was kind of, I was a little bit burnt out, you know what I'm saying? A little jaded, but now I feel like I'm back in love with this sport. And it's funny because I had to work a full-time job on top of this shit. There's not a lot of money in this line of work. What was my next question. That's what I was going to ask you. So pretty much until I got my contract. So I've been working, and I always did blue collar work, hard on the body shit, just what I've been gravitated towards. And like, that's what I grew up doing, like working for my dad back in the day, landscaping shit on the golf course. So yeah, it's funny. I have to remind myself that a younger me would literally kill to be in the position I am now, where all I do is fight. And I coach a little bit at our gym, ground control, a couple days a week. But yeah, it's living the dream. It's weird, but it's rad at the same time.
No, I think that's amazing. And like I was telling you, I don't know obviously much about the sport at all. But what I can tell you is that when my mom and I don't know if it was during quarantine or maybe a little bit before or after. But I feel like watching UFC and even boxing too, like those were so intriguing to me, just because it's to watch that people are willing to just like throw their body in a ring, you know what I mean? And just be that vulnerable and just really go all at it and use the skill is just amazing to me. And I want to learn more because I think like I'm intrigued by it, but I don't know anything about it really. And so when it comes to, so UFC is the main thing,
yeah,
right?
It's like the UFC is to mixed martial arts, which is a sport, is what NFL is to football. So
and
it's
then
like
you wrestle with, is it like wrestling is within it also?
Mixed martial arts, it's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, which is like the submissions. When you see someone tap out, that's a submission. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, which is like a lot of clinch, which is up close, elbows and knees. Yeah, wrestling, I probably said that. Boxing. So it's like, yeah, it's mixed martial arts. It's a lot of them. And there's a few rules, like you can't 12 to 6 elbow for some dumb reason, and you can't kick people in the balls or fish hook them. Well, no eye pokes. And like if someone's down, 3 points of contact, like, and especially if both knees are down in the UFC anyway. In Asia, you can do whatever you want really, but in the UFC, you can't knee or kick them to the head. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just all the disciplines combined into one fighting system.
Wow, interesting.
Why are you looking to train it?
Maybe.
You should swing by the gym one day.
Maybe.
I think Claudia did way back in the day.
I don't think I'd be able to. I think I could punch somebody once good, and then it would be game over. Because I have like fake hair and stuff, so that would probably get ripped out.
Well, you don't actually have to hit anyone or get hit. You can come in, learn technique. I mean, you can if you want, I guess.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the fun part of it. No?
Yeah.
And
hitting someone
I don't have any technique. All I know how to do is swing a punch.
That's what I think technique is king. Like athleticism is great, but that's what I show. So I teach a kickboxing class Tuesday, Thursday at our gym. It's all beginners. I don't know if there's sometimes some people who have fights will come in, but that's what I preach to them is like technique is literally everything in this line of work. So
how old are the kids that usually come in that you're training? Like 16, 17 or?
Kids? No, I like
Or
it's mostly
it's adults too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Like my class is mostly like, not to be disparaging, but it's like mostly like middle-aged women.
Okay.
So I shouldn't say middle-aged. That's rude. Hopefully they're not listening to this.
It's not
but, You know what
rude.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like mom age, wherever.
So and then they're
be.
coming at you teach, like you said, so you teach technique, you teach all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
little
that's really
burnouts
cool.
at the end, you know, but mostly technique, because that's what like. And lately I've been obsessed with footwork. So it's like I'm doing these high-level footwork drills with, you know, soccer moms, for lack of a better term.
That's
great.
pretty cool though.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's been, because I hate teaching, because I can do something, but I'm terrible at explaining it.
Right.
So I thought that, you know, I thought that I wouldn't really like it, but it's been a lot of fun. And it's only a couple hours a week.
And then you just had a baby, right?
No, my wife did though. I did not give birth. I hate that shit. That's like when people say we're pregnant.
God. Okay.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves in this world. And they'll be like, oh, you just had no, I didn't do shit.
So your wife just had a baby.
Yep.
And that's great. So has all of this had any like effect on your relationship? Because you guys have been together.
Long time. Yeah, since 2009.
Okay.
13 years.
Crazy.
My sophomore year. So she's obviously been like through everything. And
Right.
I mean, from the jump when I was like, hey, there's this, when I was 17, I was like, hey, there's this amateur fight in August. She was like, hell yeah, I think you should do it. So I'm like super lucky in that regard. Her, my parents, her parents, which is like gotta be weird watching your daughter's boyfriend, you know, get in his underwear and get into a fight, you know. But
I don't think it's it's a sport.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like if I have a daughter and that's what her boyfriend, I would probably judge him, you know, if that's what he was into. But yeah, she's been super supportive, and it's definitely tough, you know,
Yeah.
especially like, I mean, I get super crabby from the weight cut.
Right.
And so I'm sure that's annoying to deal with. And it just, like I said, it's a fucking, this shit weighs on you. You know what I'm saying? It definitely weighs on you. So she's seen me at my lowest and has been my backbone throughout. My family's been great during it, but it's a super selfish pursuit too. You know, like you're not on a team. I mean, you know what as far as competition, it's literally you. So it's a lot of time, you know, focused on me and around me. And yeah, it definitely has its challenges, but it's never, I don't think it's ever negatively affected, like seriously negatively affected. She's been nothing but supportive and knows that it's the dream, and she knows how hard I work. It's not like I'm fucking around. So she's very much in the trenches and sees everything. But yeah, it's tough. And especially like we're damaging our bodies. So I could imagine, you know, it's got to take a toll going to events with black eyes and cuts and shit like that. And but no, it's been great. It's like I said, I really, and it'd be weird. Like I was talking to my homie about it not long ago, because I've never had to experience like pursuing a girl in the middle of all this shit. I would imagine it would be very difficult to find someone who's down with it, you know, because you're spending a lot of time at the gym, especially like most people are working full-time jobs. So, you know, they're putting their 8 hours in, go home for like an hour or whatever, and then they're out all night, and the damage, it's got to be challenging.
Yeah, I was going to say, we always talk about that too. Like Brandon, and then even because she's with Brandon's best friend, Nick, who also is involved with the social media stuff. And we always say that, you know, it would be really hard at this point to find someone who accepts what you do. Also, I feel like understands it and then isn't like weird about it, because I think that for a lot of people, anything that's out of the norm, it's like hard for people to really understand and support and just kind of fully be there. So I feel like we all are pretty lucky in that sense too, but I can't imagine how difficult it would be, like you said, to like have the time and then even just find somebody that would really, I feel like you'd always kind of have to, I don't want to say always have to bring the person up, but kind of like you said, like always be that backbone and not take it personally if the person doesn't always have time for you. You know what I mean? And
it's hard. And like I said, I get real cranky, so I'm probably a major douchebag to be around.
Yeah.
So salute to her for putting up with that. But but yeah, I didn't think about like in your situation, that is true that you're lucky that kind of you, especially with your relationship, but your peers also have the same, I don't want to say schedule because there is no schedule, but similar lines of work. So
well, even there's a lot of people in our line of work that are just not real and genuine. So it's like you can find people that do the same thing, but are they gonna be genuine and good people? Probably not. Because there's a lot of them that aren't. So I feel like because we live in Maryland. We kind of are lucky with that because I feel like this state, in a way, keeps us grounded. Like, we're not in the whole LA scene, which I think helps.
You're not kidding. Yeah, I was at the Rice Sound Festival the other day. It's like, it is as like small world gets. Our gym, Ground Control, we had like one of the float. I shouldn't say a float, but like we had a spot in the parade, and I'm telling you, it's like nothing ever changes.
No.
Nothing ever changes. And like, shit, we're pretty much townies at this point. We bought a crib. We were talking about it earlier. Like 5 years ago now. Yeah, it's probably been 5 years. So. Did you buy this move-in ready? Like, did you have to do any projects or anything?
I painted the whole thing.
Yeah.
And was that all I did? Just paint? Oh, I did a couple. I did not that this floor came, but then I replaced the guest bathroom flooring upstairs. Yeah, we do.
We bought our house. It was nice, but it was like super duper dated. So it's like we have a lot of elbow grease with the DIY, like redoing our kitchen. I used to do HVAC, so heating and air conditioning systems, like right before. So put the AC in. So that's what's burnt up a lot of my free time is the home project shit. But I'm never doing that shit again. It's so fucking annoying.
I obviously didn't do anything, but even just being here, watching it and waiting for it to get done, I was like, this takes forever and it's a pain in the fucking ass. I feel like even when you get newer type houses, there's always going to be something that I feel like you want to change or something that isn't perfect.
Yeah, that's what I think we're gonna build our next spot because like
with
how expensive shit is. Like I'll be looking at Zillow and there's $500,000-$600,000 houses and it's like there's still like I don't fuck with most of this house, you know. So
I agree. I know because I have the emails coming in all the time from like the realtor I was working with, and yeah, I mean same thing, $700,000-$800,000 houses, even in the millions. Like there was one I saw that was $3 million. And the inside was so dated, and I was like, okay, so you buy the house just to put another. Couple $100,000. It's crazy.
Yeah, shit's crazy. But yeah, we just built a swing set for the boy. He turns 1 next week.
No.
And even that shit, like I got it from Costco. It was a good deal. And it's like I actually paid someone to do like 1 day's and they didn't finish. And it's just like the never ending shit from hell. But it's finished now. And that's the shit that annoys me the most is home projects these days. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Has your life changed a lot with having a kid or not really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely the greatest thing ever. I love my boy, and I come from a big family, so I've been around babies like pretty much my entire life. I love babies, not to sound creepy, but love babies. But I mean, it's easily the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
like keeping a human being alive for the most part, and but it's super rewarding. So definitely,
and it's a mini you.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of similarities already, but it's like your schedule. Is completely revolved around, nap time, how they're feeling, blah, blah, blah. So it's definitely less, I don't want to say freedom in like a despair, but you have less autonomy. So,
yeah, because it's not just your life anymore.
No, hell no. And it's cool because it's like, I do better when I'm just hanging out at the crib with the fam. So it keeps me out of trouble. So there's that. Knock on wood, he was a good sleeper and, or is a good sleeper. So I just know. So I was child number 2. So I just know our next one we're in for some trouble for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
the second
you
one.
got lucky the first time.
I know. So, but no, it's been great. And my mom lives down the street, and her folks aren't far from us, so they've been. But our childcare, which is nice because that shit gets super expensive.
Yeah.
But
I know everything costs money, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, it's been great, and as far as fighting goes, though, like someone asked me that. I think in Vegas before my last fight, they were like, is your life like, do you take fighting, like your training any more serious? And I feel like my training hasn't changed at all. Cause like I already took it as seriously as I could. And having a kid never really made me any, cause it was already all in at that point. But so that hasn't really changed my philosophy and, my intensity, but definitely real life is not remotely the same as what it was, but it's all for the better.
Right.
So.
If you weren't fighting, what do you think you'd be doing? Did you have anything else that...
Like if I never got into it or for when I'm done? Or both, I guess.
Maybe both, but maybe more so like if you never got into... Like was there anything else that... Because I know when we started, you were saying how there's other things too that you like, not just fighting. I don't want to burn you out with the fighting.
No, it's all good. That's a fucking great question.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know. So like when I was younger... So I grew up doing golf course maintenance, like landscaping on the golf course. That's what my father does, and I worked for him like I want to say I was like 12 or 13, which is definitely not legal as far as child labor laws go. I think I was 12 when I first started like raking bunkers with just like the sand traps on a golf course and filling the divots. And I always wanted to get into that shit when I was younger. And then when I actually started doing it for work, I was like, nah, fuck this shit. Because it's hard. You got to wake up stupid early, a lot of manual labor. And it's like, especially at nice clubs, like the members are super cunty there. And it's a thankless fucking job. So probably wouldn't be doing that. I honestly don't know. I really don't know.
Does your dad still do that?
Yeah, he still does. He loves that shit, which is good for him because most people hate their jobs. That's what the older I get, the more I realize most people hate doing what they spend the most time on, which sucks. And I'm a blessed man that I don't share that. But I don't know. I don't know what I would be doing. Probably something that was in the blue collar field if I had to guess.
Right.
Maybe HVAC or electrical. But for the post it's kind of random, but I've been obsessed with buying land and raising cattle, like cattle ranching.
Cool.
Yeah. So you're not a vegan, are you?
No, but I like to try to be.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't eat steak at all?
Okay, so sometimes.
You're
but
worst vegan
so
ever.
my mom is on and off vegan, vegetarian for years, since I was younger. So I didn't eat meat until I was, God, I don't know, maybe 13 or 14.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't even really go through puberty for a while. I was stick thin. You could see my bones because I didn't eat meat. I think
no protein, I guess.
Yeah, no protein. Only would eat beans. And then
beans. Oh my God.
My first
beans
meat
only diet.
Yes, I think my first meat that I had was a McDonald's fish fillet or something. Filet-O-Fish, whatever they're called. I loved it, and I never turned back.
Yeah. So I eat a shitload of steak. So, I got do you know what a Traeger is? It's a pellet smoker. It's like a grill, and it runs off these little pellets, and it's so I smoke a bunch of meat. Not to sound provocative, but so yeah. So I eat a shitload.
So you want to eat the cattle?
Yeah, I want. So
well, good thing I'm not a vegan.
Yeah, mostly that. But I was like, God, that'd be so cool, and. The regenerative farming shit is cool to me.
If you're gonna do it, I feel that's people say that's the best way is to get your own
shit. And it's there's definitely issues with factory farming and shit. And I don't want to be a hypocrite saying that because I eat meat, but I try to source my shit to where it's relatively humane, as humane as possible.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of I like the regenerative farming. I'd probably start off with cattle and then maybe pigs. And I actually have chickens at my crib now.
Really?
Yeah. So we have 8 chickens. We get 6 to 8 or not 6-ish eggs a day.
Awesome.
When they're so.
Do they taste different? Than the store?
I think it's placebo. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure.
They definitely have darker yolks than so. But
are they organic chicken eggs?
I don't know if it'd be considered organic.
Okay.
What does
Maybe
that mean for
I'll have to buy my eggs from you. My chicken eggs.
Yeah, I guess well, I've never given them antibiotics, so they'd probably they would be considered organic, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. I really am curious what I would be doing if I wasn't fighting right now.
Well, I feel like that's a good. I feel like that would be a good kind of once you're older, you settle down, living on your farm.
What would you be doing? So you wanted to be in the FBI?
Why did you have to turn it
That's
on me?
so. I had no idea. Do you have a degree?
Yeah. So
where'd you go?
A bunch of places. So I started CCBC.
Okay.
And then I went to Notre Dame of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
No, backtrack. CCBC Mercyhurst, which is in Erie, Pennsylvania. Hated it. Total homebody. I really think I went to kind of escape a bad relationship, which it did help with that. But I was only there for 1 semester, couldn't stand it. My mom forced me to stay though. And it taught me a lot. But after that, I came back, went to Notre Dame of Maryland, hated it because it felt like a private school. I don't do well with that. Then I went to Stevenson, which I loved. Did a transfer, got in there, finished out there, got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And then I started to get my master's in crime scene investigation. And then I became an OnlyFans star. So the rest is history.
More freedom in that. That's great.
Yeah. If I wasn't doing this, I would assume that I'd be going down that path because I was never really good in school, and the whole crime scene stuff, even now, show wise, just everything that I feel interests me the most is things related to that. And I liked the aspect that you could travel around and it wasn't just sitting down.
Right.
I wanted to do, I wanted to be at the crime scenes. But now that I look back on it, like, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
What, just seeing blood and guts and shit?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
It'd be gross as fuck, probably.
Yeah, and I know that you kind of get used to it, but I feel like that might gross me the fuck out. And I feel like, I don't know, the world is like a pretty scary place, and I feel like I realize that more and more every day. So...
Are you paranoid? You said that your front door is barricaded.
With the chair, with my couch chair. That used to be in here. But yeah, that's my... Honestly,
that's
I kind
defense.
of am. Yeah.
That's how my wife is also. Like,
it's
whenever
scary.
I'm not there, she bugs out, puts a chair in front of the door.
It's scary. And that's the thing is, like, obviously, right now, it's just me. But I feel like if I did live with, like, Brandon or something, I would get really used to that. And I would be even more scared. Because then, like, the nights that if he weren't there and stuff like that.
Damn, so chasing feds. It's probably hard to get a job with the FBI, right?
Well, that was the other thing. So I started being in Brandon's videos, and I feel like you pretty much know my personality. It's just I say whatever and do whatever. And I remember hearing a story of a girl that was just like very proper and good girl, didn't get into the FBI because I think she said her timing was off on when the last time she said she smoked weed was something bizarre, but they didn't let her in. And I was like, okay, so I have no fucking chance of getting in because of the way I speak publicly online. Unless they're going to make me some like undercover person. Right. I don't think
you'd be great at that.
Yeah, I would be good
soliciting
at that.
men. You'd be fucking knocking them off
left
and right. Oh, there we go. That's an exit strategy right there.
Maybe
the FBI's got to be desperate too. It's hard to get a job, or it's hard to find people who want to work law enforcement. That's crazy. I guess it was Brandon's episode. I was listening to that. I had no idea.
Yeah,
so they drug test probably pretty hard then, right?
And I don't do anything like that, so that I wasn't concerned about that. But it was more so my online presence. And I mean, honestly, when Claudia and I decided to stop the podcast, there was like 2 days that I was like, my life is over.
Really?
Genuinely. Yeah, because we didn't stop, and then I was like, oh, I'll take it over. Like it was it took, I think, maybe, what was it, like 2 days to really decide, maybe I'll do this on my own. So and
you're just getting burnt out from same old shit, I guess.
When we started, she was single and we were traveling together. And when Claudia was single, she was just a fun old time. She loved to drink.
She's a buzzkill now?
She's a buzzkill. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. She's happy in her relationship, and we don't really drink anymore or go out, and we were doing that a lot before. So we had these stories to tell, and it was fun, and it was kind of like a girl talk type of thing.
Just the well ran dry a little on it.
Yeah. And
it's funny you say I actually gave up drinking, like, I want to say I'm going on 2 months. And I was definitely, I don't have a problem with it. Like, I can stop at any time, like 9 weeks out from a fight, I never drank.
Right.
Oh, that's entirely true. I've had like a glass of red wine, but never before 6 weeks. I'll tell you what, the booze is like definitely the enemy of my progress. So 100%. Yeah. And I'm not trying to sound judgy or anything because I love getting hammered, but it's like.
Oh, I do too. That feeling is a great feeling, but it's the aftermath for me. And then, I mean, I work out all the time. So if I drink, I do not make it to the gym the next day or two. And it's annoying. It does.
Yeah, the hangovers suck, especially the older you get. But yeah, it's fucking, I want to say I'm close. I might never go back, to be honest.
You shouldn't. I don't really drink anymore.
I've been smoking a bunch of weed to compensate for it.
I can't do that either. I get very paranoid? Nauseous and paranoid, yes.
From smoking, you get nauseous? Really?
Like, to the point where I could throw up.
On the table?
On the table. Like, I could barely walk to the bathroom.
You should smoke during this episode, then. Make for good contact.
Why? So I could
yak
get
on the table. The old vom. That would absolutely get you some views there.
Girl throws up in the middle of show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
No.
It does. I mean, weed is so fucking strong these days. Yeah. And I got a low tolerance, so I got to ease into it, but...
I think it depends on the person, though. I think some people, it kind of like eases stress and it makes you feel good. Since I was young, I tried it in high school and the same thing happened. And I get this weird thing that I know every time 3 minutes goes by.
Really?
Yes. Like I'll tap my phone and it's always 3 minutes after. It freaks me out.
Yeah, that's fucking
I much
strange.
rather get wasted on tequila.
Really?
Make stupid decisions. Have my alter ego psychotic person come out for a few hours and then...
You just, like, for me anyway, like... So I go to the gym all the time, high and productive. Like, I kind of have the reverse. I know a lot of people who smoke weed and are super lazy. Obviously, not everything's for everyone. But I'm like, I'll get so self-conscious if I don't do the shit that I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm high, that it'll almost force me to not be lazy. But if I have one beer, well, I can't really have one beer. That's an issue with me. It's like, it's all or nothing. But if
That's
I have
how I
one
am with sugar.
Yeah. If I have one beer, yeah, I'm very similar in that regard. I just know that I'm like, if I'm supposed to work out, that it's not going to happen.
Right.
Definitely not. But to each their own, I guess. You like tequila though? That shit's fucking gnarly.
I don't like the taste of it, but I like the way it makes me feel. It makes me just the craziest version of myself, which I love. That girl is just, I mean, that's the thing is I feel like growing up, I always had so much confidence, just like naturally. And then as I've gotten older, I always overthink things now. And it's just so fucking annoying. Because I remember there was a point where I didn't care. And then when I drink alcohol, it's like that girl comes back out. And I like that girl. I just wish she would always be there without alcohol.
Yeah, I have no control over myself. Yeah, I tend to irritate the ones that I love or that love me most whenever I'm super hammered. So.
I do that too. That's why, and honestly, that was one of the reasons I stopped. And like, there's times too where I'll go with Brandon. And he's like, "Oh, like have a glass of wine with me. Are you gonna drink?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "You remember how I act when I get drunk? That girl should not come out." Like, because that's what I noticed too is I don't really like the way I act towards him or the people that I care about. Like I've said this a million times, but Claudia never gets the wrath of me. She's like the one person that never experiences the bad side. But everyone else, they should just beware.
Do you get depressed when you drink?
The day after.
Yeah,
really bad.
The blues. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a depressive person. I've had issues with it in the past. And like, if I'm in that kind of, it comes and goes. But if I'm feeling down and I drink, it's like 100% becomes self-medicating and fucking woe is me, which is not useful. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for me. So yeah, I might just never go back, honestly. And I was at my homie's boxing match at where was it? Maryland Live, like whenever a couple months ago, and I was having a few beers and I just woke up the next day. I was like, I think I'm fucking over this shit. And then that was pretty much that.
I think that it's really fun in the moment, but like the aftermath is just not worth it at all. Like by any means. I haven't done it in a while. I don't care for it, but I can't deny it's a good time.
Yeah, fucking right. Like I said, I love getting hammered. It's fucking awesome.
We can think of it. I know. I always say, like, I wish there was a pill that I could take that would
alcohol pill?
Yeah, but then you
with
don't
no
get
hangover?
Yep. I mean, imagine that. That'd be pretty nice.
I can't remember who said it. It's a great quote of there's no biological free lunch. So like you drink coffee, you crash, you fucking, you do some Molly, there's the roll off behind it. You get drunk and you get hungover. It's like,
right.
It's a nice reminder,
Exactly.
Karma, Yeah. In a sense. You like Buddhism at all? Speaking of karma, do you follow any?
I do.
Any Buddhism?
Yeah. I actually got a couple books on it.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Do you remember which ones?
No. They were Amazon books that I read. Good. It was, I can say it was all by the same guy, but he was like, I don't know his name. It was actually really good though. Because I have a brain that can't really understand things easily. So like I need things broken down to really understand. And
Cliff notes?
Like, no, like they need to say word for word what they mean. Like I can't read a sentence that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because like
I think most people can't read sentences that don't make sense.
No, listen. Like Brandon is super smart. Like he can like read something so complex and understand it. Whereas me, I need it to be like written very
synthesized.
Clear. Yes.
Yeah. So fighting has brought me down to a bunch of different, philosophy. When we were talking about earlier that I'm interested in a bunch of different shit, and definitely none of the metaphysical shit in Buddhism, because there is some weird shit that goes along with certain schools, but like. From sheer, what they'll call like secular Buddhism or whatever, sheer philosophical like guidelines, I guess, for a good life. I've paid attention to it less the last few years, but I got into it like hard, like 2 or 3 years ago. And there, like you said, there's a lot of good books on it, a lot of good podcasts on it. I don't even know how I guess karma is how this came up. Yeah. But yeah, do you pay attention to philosophy at all? I
do. So I'm very into. So I grew up, I grew up Jewish and then kind of converted to Christianity because my mom decided to. So I grew up like with all of that stuff and I never wanted to do it because I always say she's going to be listening and I'm not like that I say this, but she forced me to go to church in high school. And like, obviously when you're in high school, that's the last thing you want to do is wake up on Sunday morning after you got wasted to go listen to a pastor speak. So I didn't, and I got all these Bible verses tattooed on my body. Like, fuck, I had like 10 of them.
I have a cross tattoo and I'm like not religious at all.
Yeah, I have a cross too. And it's just, well, I don't regret it because let me tell you, I think that some of the quotes, I guess they're not called quotes, but some of the quotes in the Bible I think are really good and they have a lot of meaning.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that book.
And I really think that with every religion though, there's something that you could pick out from each one that you're like, okay, I can relate to that, or that's a good thing to live by. But I feel like I focus on, I would say being a good person, but like I'm not always a good person. But I try to do the right thing, and I'm just trying to grow within myself. And I like to lean on different books and philosophies and psychology and all of that stuff to help me learn to be a better person. And like I said, I feel like I've changed a lot. Like I feel like there was a point where I felt like I didn't need any books for help, and now I feel like I need help to just flourish more as a person. So that's kind of...
What's your favorite book that you've ever read?
Oh my God, I don't like to read that much. So my favorite book... I don't know. I've read a lot of self-help. I will tell you that I prefer self-help books over...
Like fiction? You don't read fiction at all? Mm-mm. I recently read, I think last year I finished the Harry Potter series. Mm-hmm. That shit is dope. It makes sense.
So you like to read?
Yeah, I read quite a bit.
Good for you. Yeah, not me.
So, but you should read the book The Alchemist. I don't know if you...
Oh my God, I have it upstairs. I didn't like it. That's my favorite.
That's my... Really?
Well, I only did...
Wow.
I only did maybe the first...
It's a short read.
It is. I think I only read the first 5 pages. So you're telling me I should go back and finish it.
Fuck yeah. That book is great.
Now I'll finish. It's upstairs. It's like the only book I kept.
That one's dope. That's probably my favorite. But yeah, that's got great metaphors in there.
Okay.
You know, but
will I understand
about finding
them?
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay. It's like real. Like honestly, like a middle schooler could read it, I think. But it's okay. It's about finding vocation and shit like that.
I gotta get this bug. If you see him, get him.
I'm not sure if I got him.
Well, he's annoying.
Slow reflexes there.
I know. I see. He flies by.
Damn, you got the speakers up there? That's pretty sick. Mm-hmm. Bluetooth.
Yeah, my house speakers. Yeah.
Damn, this is a dope setup over here.
That came with the house.
This fixtured in?
No, the speakers. The fixture I got myself. Picked it out from Home Depot. That's my favorite store.
Is it?
Yep.
I'm torn with Home Depot.
They got the good stuff, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Compared to other places.
I'm a big Crate and Barrel guy, believe it or not.
Now that shit's expensive.
Hell yeah. We got this after I won my debut. We bought a dope ass bar cart and a sick acacia wood dining room table. I was literally eyeing those bitches up for like 2 years. Yeah. And then bam, one.
They're
nice.
The
first. Hey, yeah, fucking right.
Yeah.
Yep. Big home decor guy, believe it or not. I'm all about that shit.
So you're a man of just like many interests, it seems like.
Yeah. What is it? Renaissance man? That's what I think that's like a well-rounded. I could be wrong. So
that sounds right.
Yeah. Right. Someone who's, try to be, broad in my interests.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. Open-minded.
It does.
Yeah, you're going to have to. If you become the female Rogan, you're going to have to be a woman of many interests.
I know. And I really am becoming that. And that's the thing too. Well, going back to what I was saying, there was really that 2-day period that I really thought that like, okay, so my naked body is online. I'm never going to get another job. And I no longer have a podcast with my best friend. So I literally felt like I hit rock bottom.
Do you really think OnlyFans cancels you for future employment?
Tucker.
I don't know, because I feel like so granted, like my understanding of the workplace is blue collar folk, but America as a country is having a hard time finding employees in like every sector, right?
That's true. I just, you
should be judged off your credentials, not off of.
That's true. But you know how I only say that because when we were like getting out of high school, everybody was changing their names on Facebook because they didn't want the college or the colleges to see them with alcohol. So I feel like jobs are probably the same way. I'm sure I could find a job that would be willing. But
after COVID, the workforce is fucked. No one wants to work anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like you could find, not saying that you have to. Imagine how sorry to cut you off, but imagine how like a real job would be right now.
Oh, I know. But that was the other thought I had. I was like sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? And I mean, even now, like I do this, I'd say this is full time that we're doing. I mean, we talk every day. We're filming like a couple times a week, but we're not making any money from it yet. Like it's just solely, we're just building it, but which is, I'm fine with.
It's like the startup phase of a company.
But I'm passionate about it and I like it. And, I feel like the reason kind of all of this happened was because I've been doing OnlyFans for almost 2 years now, I think. And obviously I've done well from it. But I think when I started, like I was saying, I was a very different person. Like I just didn't care. I mean, since I was young, I've never been modest. I just didn't give a fuck. And now it's like the first time I'm in like a really healthy, good relationship. And it's, we're going on 2 years and I don't like doing it anymore, and it's just not my thing.
The OnlyFans?
Yeah.
So you're bouncing?
Yeah, like it just doesn't, it brings me more depression, I would say, and just annoyance than it does making me happy.
That's kind of like social media. People are so much more sad these days, I feel like. And it's like just life is a fucking dick swinging contest, and it's like, look at me. I'm doing better than you and I'm going to let you know. When everyone's sad at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Or most of those folks are. It makes us worse.
Yeah,
but
social media does not help at all. And I think too, I feel like that could be another reason why, like, I feel like I've lost myself, like who I really am, because it's this constant comparison game. That's why I try to tell myself like all the time, just be yourself. But yeah, I mean, the goal before was for the podcast to eventually, hopefully, replace the OnlyFans thing. And then it didn't go in that direction. So when we decided to stop, I was like, I'm fucked. I just had no idea what I was going to do. And then when I decided to do this, it originally started where I was like, yeah, I could interview people. And I didn't really think much into it. And then, we just started brainstorming ideas. And that's kind of when I was like, I want to take this further than just interviewing people I know. Like, I want it to be people from all different walks of life. And, I also want to open up to a new audience. Like I said before, it was mainly like females, like young, probably I'd say like, I don't know, maybe 17 to mid-20s. And now it's like, doing one like this and then doing an episode with Jason with Afghanistan. I feel like hopefully that can
diversify.
Yeah, and break
most of your following has got to be dudes though, right?
Okay, so it was, but not ever since the podcast. I feel like it's
been kind females.
Yes, which does not help the OnlyFans.
But like your Instagram has got to be mostly dudes, really. Is there a way to find that out?
You can look at the analytics, which it used to be 50-50, and now I only have like 30% men.
Really?
But it makes sense because it goes hand in hand. Like with the OnlyFans, you can keep track too of like obviously the numbers of everything. And
a lot of girls buy your shit on OnlyFans?
I've had a few. But I think that they
look at
I think that they look at it, no, not even that much, maybe 10 total over the last 2 years. But I feel like they look at it because they want inspiration of like making their own kind of thing.
Their own OnlyFans, yeah.
Yeah, because I've done that too. Like I'll look at like Lana Rhoades or other bigger girls and see what they're posting because you run out of ideas. Okay, like
it's got to be hard to be original, right?
Yeah, I'm probably not original. The one thing that this is actually kind of funny because I feel like you probably wouldn't assume that this is on there. I'll just give you some humor, but there's this guy that's on there and he's really into having girls like dominate him, like just talk horribly about him, right?
Yikes.
So
they teach their own, I guess. So
yes.
Good
so
for him.
Listen, so this is what this guy's into. And he asked me to send him this video of me just like screaming at him. Okay. Like a selfie video, nothing crazy. And I do it. And he responds like so happy saying that he's asked like 20 different OnlyFans girls to do it that are like pro dominatrix girls. And I'm the first one that like nailed it.
He paid you to do it?
Yeah, like $200. Just
$200 to yell at him?
Yeah, for a selfie video, like 2-minute video.
I'm in the wrong fucking business.
Yeah, you are.
I'm about to be on OnlyFans at the end of this day. Good Lord.
It's crazy though because I mean, I feel like in that sense, maybe I'm more original than I thought because he's been asking these professional dominatrix chicks, but they can't nail the insults like I can.
Can I ask you questions about OnlyFans?
Go ahead,
all right.
yeah.
So like, what is the genesis? Like, how did it start?
So I was posting like, I feel like I show my body online, even on Instagram. Like I feel like I was always in like either my underwear or bathing suits. And before Brandon and I started dating, we were just kind of hanging out. He was like, instead of posting you in your underwear on your stories on Instagram, this is when OnlyFans like first started getting big. He was like, why don't you post it on OnlyFans, get paid for it? So it started kind of like lingerie, sports bra.
I know I have a few unnamed buddies who are investors in on your page.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I figure that. I always know or figure that there's definitely a good amount of people that have seen it, which I don't care. I try to think too, like when I post, like would I care if the world saw this? Probably not. And that's the thing too. Like I know I look good. I just think I want to be more than just the OnlyFans chick, you know? And I know I can be because I'm cool and I have a cool personality and I'm going to fucking kill it. I'm going to be Devorah Rogan.
That's awesome. That's pretty vulnerable there. You know what I'm saying? So how does it go from like lingerie to like booty hole pictures? How does that? Is it just the carrot of people throwing
what?
money at you, I guess?
I think what happens is you start to see the numbers going down.
Right.
So and then you're like, we got to get them
a little bit more ratchet.
And now I'm at a point that it's... Did you get them?
No, I'm too slow.
Now I'm at a point where it's just like they just keep going down. So it's like there's really nothing else I can do. And I don't do, full disclosure, I don't do any like porn type shit at all.
Would you ever? If the price was right?
No.
What if like Brazzers came with like $3 million for
it would have to be more than
5
$3 million.
scenes?
No.
3 mil is a no-go?
Like 100 million, sure.
For 5 scenes?
Mm-hmm. I'll do a whole sex tape for 100 million. But if you're not offering me that, no.
I'd probably fucking do some shady shit for $3 million, to be honest. Depending.
I mean, look, I think what happened was that, well, the other thing was then when I first started, I didn't have my boobs done yet. And then I got my boobs done and I was like, okay, now I really don't care because they're plastic anyway.
Right.
And like that was like kind of it's funny because when I look back sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like there was a point where I thought it was like a big deal to wear like a see-through top. And now it's just not
the extreme end of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. I think it's dope that you're open about it, though. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I wouldn't have what I have if it wasn't for that. And I'll never be the kind of person that when I am out of it, I'm like, oh my God, I regret doing it. I should have done it because it was who I am, and I feel like I am confident enough to do it, and I do it well. But it's gotten to a point where I don't enjoy it anymore. It's like this, I like to come down here and use my brain to like memorize questions or think of questions and learn about people that I don't really know much about or what they do. But with OnlyFans, like I have no motivation to fucking put on lingerie that I don't even give a fuck how I look in it. Like I have no motivation. Like I don't care. Like I don't care for these men to see me. I just don't fucking care anymore. Like it really, at this point, it's not even... Like, I do it because I need the money, because I need this, like, I want to get
bankrolling this going.
Yeah. But if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't.
Do you have, like, a Patreon for the podcast yet?
I don't like Patreon.
Yeah. Have you ever used them before?
Yes.
I was thinking about doing it for my podcast.
Let me tell you why.
Talking Rounds, by the way. I don't think I mentioned my podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to link it anyway.
Right,
don't worry. I gotcha. But, so Julie listens to a podcast on Patreon that she likes, but Which
one is it?
Tim Dillon.
Okay, word. That's awesome.
Thanks. All right, my food.
He's the comedian? Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So I was doing it for more workout content. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking that this guy is probably thinking, what the fuck are these people doing? But yeah, I did it for workout content. But the reason I didn't like it is because they don't allow you to just upload a workout video. Like they make you buy a subscription to something called Vimeo. Or like they make you upload it on YouTube.
I remember Vimeo, yeah. That's what Rogan used to be on like way, way, way back in the day.
Yeah, so when I would upload my workout videos to that and then to Patreon, it would dumb down the quality. So it's just like, it would be so much better if I could just upload the workout video and be like, here you go. So I hated it.
But you can just have people throw you dough on there, no? Right? Or if like you can do like extra content for podcast. I haven't looked much into it.
Well, now they have that for Instagram, I think. That people can pay for, is it extra stories? I think you can do like a subscription to see.
Really?
Yeah. Which is easier because it's all in one app. I like that better.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
But I don't know. I mean, I kind of posted there when I did have the Patreon, I would do some bonus episodes. They were short, but just with me and Claudia.
Did you guys make money off that show? If you don't mind me asking.
Yes. So that was kind of like another reason we got out of it. But when we first started, we signed with a company who completely ripped us off. The only good thing we got out of it was that we got it wasn't a free trip to LA. It was free stay. But that was fun.
You had to pay for the plane and shit.
We paid for the plane, but we were, Logan Paul and Mike Malak and stuff.
I mean, I know of them.
Yeah.
I'm not homies with them.
Well, we know them. No, so we got to meet them. And so that was cool. It was a really cool weekend. We'll never forget it. But so that was the only thing we got good out of that company. And then we dropped them because we were doing so many brand deals and we made no money from it. And
so you're just getting free shit, I guess?
Kind of, but not even. Like we were doing these ads in the middle of the podcast and they were like telling us, okay, in a month you're going to get paid. And then we never got paid. So we stopped with them and then we signed with a new company who was legit. But in my opinion, I think we were getting gypped. Like we were not making what we should be. Like we pull in decent views on YouTube, if you ask me, for a podcast. And I think they were selling us out for like $300 an ad when it should be like I wouldn't even accept that on my main YouTube channel, which I don't even post on.
Yeah, so I guess the way to do it is just have advertisers pay you, right?
Yeah,
that's
so
like the most lucrative way to do it, I
and
suppose.
YouTube pays you too. So like if you're getting a good amount of views, you'll get paid through Google. So like I mean, it's not much unless you're getting hundreds and thousands or millions, but it's a little bit. And then the best thing is to have a company that brings in different ads for you, and like they buy spots in your show, so you can do like I'd say anywhere from like 1 to 3 ads an episode, and then they'll pay you for that ad spot, and it's usually like 60 seconds to 2 minutes. But we were getting paid, but it was only like maybe like $4,000 a month or something, and that was split, so it was like $2,000, which like
hard to live off of. Just
impossible.
That, I guess.
Yeah, so it's like, and honestly, we weren't even doing
it's better than nothing, though.
It is better than nothing.
We don't make shit on our show yet, but we got small numbers. But
I mean, it was one of those things that it was good because we were able to get all of our supplies from it, and it was stuff like that, which is great, and like our camera. But
they gave you these mics.
No. Like we were able to use the ad money for this kind of, so it wasn't personal.
Reinvest.
Yep. So yeah, and I got my cool little setup, but this came from my own money. This table and these chairs. So gotta keep racking it in on OnlyFans for now.
Fuck it, just for a little bit longer, I guess.
Yep. And then I hired my producer Julie, and here we are.
Julie chilling.
She listens and monitors and does her thing, but
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, though. It's a fun life. I don't regret anything, and I love all of it, even the stuff that I don't really love. But, it's just, it is what it is for now.
Hell yeah.
But
well, probably a good spot to cut it, right?
Yeah, I think we're good. Unless there was anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, not really. Ground Control Owings Mills. Come check us out.
Yeah. And your podcast, Talking Grounds.
Talking Rounds, yeah. Mostly talking about.
Talking Rounds.
Yep. Talking Rounds at a round table, so.
That's creative.
My partner wants to get on the YouTube bad, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of fucking negativity on that. You know what I'm saying? It is,
because you can read.
A lot of haters.
There is, and it opens you up to the comment section, which is not, unless you turn it off.
I avoid the comments.
Yeah, I wouldn't read them.
Even like, so I learned, so dragging on.
No, you're
but
fine.
The Contender Series fights, like even fights that I won, you know what I'm saying? People just, there's no pleasing them. Talking mad shit, you know what I'm saying?
Is that stuff that you hear that's like live of people talking about?
No, I was just fucking reading comments like an idiot, but now I don't read that shit at all.
Where's their comments on it? Like just different websites?
Like on the UFC's Instagram, they'll like post
it.
the winner or whatever, like post it and be like, whatever, Tucker won their, dog shit performance. And it's like, ever since then, it's like.
You just can't read them.
Next. Like, who the fuck would even do that? You know what I'm saying?
People that are miserable.
Yeah, got to be super miserable with their lives. Yeah.
Assholes. But I mean, that definitely, YouTube opens up to that. But I think sometimes, like I was saying, I think for us, it kind of makes sense because people like to watch. And I mean, I already
had it established too, which is good.
I got a pretty setup here. So it's like people like to see. And I think so. There's some people that like the visual, and then there's the people that just, want to listen in the car.
Right, transit.
Whatever. Like yours, I like to listen to. And it was like I was saying, I turned on in the car, and then when I came in, I was going to turn it off, but I was actually into it, so I didn't.
Yeah,
it was good. Awesome. I listened. So
but Ground Control Owings Mills. We're right on Owings Mills Boulevard in Reisterstown.
Come get trained by the best.
Yeah,
right?
Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. So I'm telling you, should come in. We could talk more off air, but get a free trial. So Claudia was supposed to come in, but bluffed hard.
I know, she's a bluff.
Fickle.
Yep.
A fickle individual.
We'll have to come in for sure. I need to learn some moves because I need to defend myself.
Well, say less.
All right. Gotcha. Sounds good. Well, thank you. I'm glad that I got to have you on.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.